Welcome to Beyond the Coverage. I'm Chris Horner. In today's edition, I want to talk to you guys about what the athletes are thinking right at that moment when they've crashed and they've gotten that injury that's ended any kind of objectives that they have in the very close future, as we see with Wout van Aert, where of course he misses Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix. They're done, they're gone. The big guy never showed up. But in today's cycling news, I saw a social media post from Wout van Aert where he says he's not doing the Giro d'Italia. So what is the big guy thinking? What is every rider thinking when they have that crash and they start missing Paris-Roubaix, Tour of Flanders, Giro that I'm sure he was probably paid to participate in? Well, immediately when I was a professional, the moment I crashed, anytime, any crash I had throughout my season, the moment I crashed, the first thing that's popping into my head is how bad is it? What race can I make it back for? And I tried to think about if there were some kind of interviews where I read from other writers that possibly thought the same way I did. And up here on Beyond the Coverage and the Butterfly Effect, I don't like to just say to you guys, hey, trust what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I like to show you the facts and tell you what they're thinking. And this is why, with this video, this picture at this moment in the race, this is why I can tell you this. Well, like I said, there are no cyclists that I can think of that done an interview immediately after they've crashed and then come out and said, well, at that moment I was thinking about coming back. But I do recall Josep Garcia, the three-time Enduro World Motocross Champion, that we look at his interview with his crash, and I'm going to play this 1-minute clip for you. And this is what all top athletes are thinking the moment they crash. So I'll be right back, but enjoy the minute clip.
I don't know how to say it, but I had a crash and I had quite a big injury. Mentally, when the things goes perfect, it's easy. But when the things goes in a bad way, you need to work a lot in the mental side there to keep the motivation. And when I was on the floor, I was like, I knew that I had the collarbone broken, but this is, I know, with a plate and it's a fast solution. But with my dislocated elbow, I was like, when I went to the hospital, I was with crossed fingers. Luckily, was only a clean dislocated. Then, yeah, my goal was only race the race after, you know, because I had only 3 weeks. It was a really tough 3 weeks. But then we have the summer break that it works so good to be healthy again, to train, and I was able to put the bike on the top for the last 4 races. So yeah, the end of the season was a dream end of season.
All right, hopefully you enjoyed the clip, and hopefully you caught the very last part of that clip where he said it was a dream season. I won, it was a dream season at the end. Every athlete, the moment they crash, are absolutely depressed at that moment because they're going to miss Flanders, Roubaix, the Giro, the main objectives for Wout van Aert. That's what he's thinking when he crashed at Tour of Flanders and that massive high-speed crash that took down 3 Trek riders, Biniam Gourmet, and a host of talent at the Classics, and changed basically Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix outcome. So us fans sitting on the Chesterfield saw Mathieu van der Poel just destroy everyone because Mathieu van der Poel was the only person on page 1 going into those races. Well, when we get deeper into how these riders feel, and you look at that video that I put up from Josep Garcia, that is how we're all thinking. Now, the only difference between cycling and, let's say, Josep Garcia and Wout van Aert, Josep Garcia, he can win any one of those big ISD e-races, and he can win GP Spain, GP Italy, GP France. So if he misses 1 or 2 and he comes back and wins in France or Italy or Spain or wherever it happens to be for the motocross world, his season's a dream season. His words, exactly as I said it. But Wout van Aert comes back. Remember, he's first page rider. Only 6 riders on the Butterfly Effect and Beyond the Coverage, my list, exist up there, and Wout van Aert's one of them. So he can't just come back and win. Remember, he's already won Kern-Brussels-Kerns this year. He's already taken a stage at Volta del Algarve. He's already finished 7th on the general classification at Volta del Algarve. If he wasn't on the first page, and let's say he's a 2nd page rider, or especially a 3rd page rider, you could win those races and you wouldn't even be worried after a crash like Wout van Aert had. But because he missed Flanders, Roubaix, and of course the Giro, his main objective that I'm sure he's probably getting paid for in terms of GC races objectives, that's a big hit for him. So when you look at a rider like Josep Garcia, the motocross rider, saying, I came back, I won. Wout doesn't have that luxury of just coming back and winning the Belgium National Championships. He's got to come back and he's got to win big somewhere else because he's a classic rider. He missed Roubaix, he missed Flanders. I've said it multiple times. But he still has objectives left. When I look at his resume of what he has possible races left, it's the Tour de France. Wout van Aert could go into the Tour de France. It's just under 80 days. I believe 79 days before the Tour de France starts. He's standing up there talking to us, looks pretty healthy. He says he hasn't been able to ride his bike, but certainly after 15 days with his ribs, they've probably come back together. He's going to be riding this week, there's no doubt about it, or he's going to be back under the knife on the operating table because there's something seriously wrong. And if there was something seriously wrong, he wouldn't have looked that good on video. So I believe 100% up here that we'll see Wout van Aert training in the next week. Maybe he loses a couple more days. Maybe he loses a week from his ribs. But in 3 weeks' time from the crash at Dwars or Flanders, he will be able to be on the home trainer. If he's not able to be on the home trainer in another 2 weeks, that starts affecting whether or not if he can do the Tour de France. And remember, if he can't do the Tour de France, the only thing that's left for the big guy, because he's not Josep Garcia, where any race that Josep Garcia wins that's there on that Enduro World Cup series of motocrosses is a success. For Wout van Aert, he has the Tour de France. He has the Olympics. He has the Road World Championships. Outside of that, anything else he wins, even if he wins 5 races somewhere else, he's going to consider the season a failure because of the crash. He's going to have reasons why it's a failure, but it's still going to be a failure. And remember, if Wout van Aert makes it into the Tour de France and wins 5 stages of the Tour de France, he'll start to forget about how bad the season was. And just like Josep Garcia said, it's a dream season. If Wout van Aert can win multiple stages at the Tour de France, possibly win the Olympics or the Road World Championships, it's a dream season. Win anything else, it's kind of a nightmare season for Wout van Aert. And if he was to retire at the end of this year without having more monument victories on his resume, it would be not quite the career that I have led him up to believe here when I talk about him being one of the biggest, best one-day racers in the world, Wout van Aert. Still, Wout van Aert has to go back and find that Tour of Flanders win and Paris-Roubaix win, because no matter how many Tour de France wins he has, he still needs those monument victories from Roubaix and Flanders. But the 2024 season could still be salvaged with a fantastic ride at the Tour de France, with Olympics, or of course with the World Championships. But his career won't be salvaged if he cannot find that Tour of Flanders and that Paris-Roubaix. It'll be a fantastic career in general, but he still needs to be that legendary career. He's going to have to go in there and he's going to have to beat Mathieu van der Poel at Flanders and Roubaix. There's no doubt about it, but it doesn't have to be in 2024 in order for this season to be a success. Hope you guys enjoyed the video there from Josep Garcia. All of us athletes are thinking the exact same way. The moment we get up from that crash, can we make the next race? If not, can I make what's left at the beginning of what's left for the rest of the season? Those are all huge objectives. If you're a champion, there's no way that you are not thinking the exact same thing Josep Garcia was when he said in the interview, what happened? How broken am I? Can I get to the next race? That's always what's going on in my mind. Hope you guys liked today's Beyond the Covers. I'll see you guys for the next edition real soon.